Everyday Millionaires is a new series on our YouTube channel. Be sure and check it out at Dave Ramsey, the Dave Ramsey Show on YouTube. And Chris Hogan, our resident expert on Everyday Millionaires, dropped by. Article hit the news line this morning. I picked this up on USA Today, Chris. The number of Fidelity 401k plans with a balance of $1 million or more jumped to a record 157,000 in the first quarter, up from 108,000 a year earlier, according to the latest report by Fidelity Investments. For those of you that don't know, Fidelity Investments is the largest fund family out there. American Funds is a big one, Fidelity is a big one, Vanguard is a big one, and so on. And so what they're saying is, Chris, within the 401k plans that Fidelity manages, that basically they've had about a 50% increase in 1 year of 401k millionaires. It goes on to say about 3 in 10 savers increased their contribution rate over the last year, Fidelity found. The average 401k contribution rate is now 8.6% as of the first quarter, the highest percentage in almost 10 years. And more employees are putting enough away to get the company match, particularly millennials. Yay. The average retirement balance, savings balances are now in the six figures. The average 401k balance is $102.9 at Fidelity. And this representative from Fidelity says you have to be in it for the long haul. Particularly if you're a millennial under 40, you're saving for retirement. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Retirees are now wealthier than any previous generation, according to a separate report by United Income. Over the last 3 decades, the average wealth among retirees increased over 100% to $752,000. The share of retirees that are millionaires also more than doubled over the same time, now accounting for 1 in 6 retirees are millionaires. Relative to past generations, the current generation of retirees is much better off. Almost sounds like USA Today has been listening to this show.
I think they have. I mean, because looking at this, Dave, and walking through it, talking about that it's over the long haul, being able to take advantage of the company match, having that long-term view. I mean, they're definitely listening to the show.
But the good news is that, Fidelity is just one company.
Right.
And so there's lots of other ways. It's not necessarily, say, society. Americans are, the number of millionaires jumped 50% in 1 year. But within 401ks at Fidelity, they did. That's pretty amazing.
It is amazing. And for people out there to understand, the 401ks and 403bs, these are places for you to not just put your money, but these are places to grow your money. And so don't look at it where you're just throwing money. You're putting money there to grow. Time and compound interest. Working on your 401k and your 403b, it makes good things happen, my friends.
Well, you pick out the 4 mutual funds we talk about.
That's right.
Growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. You'll get great returns. And they're saying here that, an increasing number of people are putting in at least enough to get their match. And our Smart Dollar team works with corporations all over the United States, where they're putting with the HR team, they're working with the HR team, the 401k team, to get more and more employees out of debt and into their 401k plan. So we're helping them bring their 401k plans back to health. A lot of 401k plans have too much debt borrowed against them, not enough people participating. They did the stupid auto enroll thing,
yes.
And so they got people didn't even know they were participating, and it's not giving them what they want. Instead, we teach people, get control of their money, step up, get that match, stay in there. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And the Smart Dollar team's seeing some really powerful returns on that when companies are doing that, because it looks just like what this article is talking about.
Well, it really does. And Dave, I don't know anybody out there that's a part of a company. If you're there, you want to take care of your team members. And the best way to help them is to take care of their financial future. Help them to understand how money really works. Smart Dollar is a program where Dave and Rachel and I, we teach people the realities of the program. How do you budget? How do you get yourself out of debt? How do you start to understand how money works? And companies out there, Dave, that have signed up are experiencing the benefit because people aren't distracted with money problems. They're focused on doing their job.
I think your entire Inspired movement's catching on. 3 in 10 savers increased their contribution rate over the last year.
And it gets me excited. And also millennials.
Yeah.
The fact that millennials are listening, Dave, and they're putting money in and they're going to leave it alone. They're not going to take it out for a home down payment. It's not money for a wedding. This is for your dreams. And so putting that money in and allowing it there. Now, Dave, we still have some teaching to do because people aren't at 15%.
Yeah.
And we've been telling them.
Right.
15% of your household income is what you need to get to, and that's the place to be.
The way you get there is get out of debt and have your emergency fund in place.
You give yourself a raise.
Yeah.
Get Visa out of your life, get Discover out of your life, and let's start to get more of your money, build up an emergency fund, and start to invest this money.
But this is almost contrary to this whole wealth inequality thing that's running around out there that, the average American is, the wages are stagnant and we're all stuck and we're dying and it's awful and we need socialism and anarchy and all this whining that's going on. And yet, over the last 3 decades, the average retiree's wealth at retirement has increased 100%. That's the average. That is not just the 1%. That's not the wealthy. It's not the rich guy getting richer. It's not some trust fund baby.
Right.
These are people doing this with their retirement plans, becoming wealthy.
Somebody's telling a fib, Dave. I mean, if you're talking about that, it's inequality and people can't do it, little man can't get ahead, we're seeing the proof of it.
That they can get ahead.
They can get ahead. They just need to work a plan that actually works. Now, I have to emphasize this because there are all kinds of get-rich-quick schemes out there. I'm not talking about those things, okay? I'm talking about a plan that actually works, and that's Financial Peace University. We've helped millions of people in the last 25 years to take control, get out of debt, and start to invest. And it's one of those things, Dave, I love when you talk about crock pots versus microwaves, because that's the reality of it. Putting that money there and letting it sit, letting it grow, that's the crock pot method. Don't try to microwave your financial future. Get control of it and do it the right way.
Yesterday we did the Everyday Millionaires theme hour, and every single one of them had between a $1 and a $2 million net worth that called in, and almost every one of them were right around 2/3 of their net worth was their 401k, 1/3 was their paid off house. And so they're sitting there with $1.5 million net worth, as an example, $500,000 in a paid-for house and $1 million in their 401k. And that's what this exact article is also revealing. It's the exact same numbers. People are winning when they make the choices.
They really are. Dave, I'm going to tell you a stat. Don't tell anybody. But this is in the research I did. We did the largest study on millionaires. Over 10,000 of them we studied. And guess what? Guess what the number one cause for their wealth building was?
What?
79% of millionaires reach millionaire status through their company-sponsored 401k.
79%. Their company. So the smart dollar thing, when they're going in and teaching their employees, that makes their 401k work. If you want to be a millionaire, use the company 401k.
That's right.
8 out of 10 of them.
That's right.
Of the millionaires. Wow.
They did it low and steady.
Wow.
Over time.
Wow.
And so for me, that's one of those things where I go,
they got the match. They got in the mutual funds.
And they left the money there, didn't pull it out, didn't get a loan against it.
None of them said that we avoided the expenses of the mutual funds by doing some kind of passive investing that I read about on the internet.
That's right.
All of them just stepped up, put money in. 100% of the time they invested money, and that's what got them there. I mean, that's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It really is. And they did it consistently over time, meaning they got themselves out of debt, they used the 401k, and they stayed focused on the plan. It leads to a destination. And so for you listeners out there, if you're wanting to get to millionaire status, if you're wanting to make sure you can secure your financial future, you need to get involved in your 401k.
I mean, these are 3 or 4 pieces of data that are really strong in the last 24 hours that we've laid into here. One was the actual callers yesterday on the Everyday Millionaires theme hour. This article saying it's jumped to a record of 157,000 millionaires at Fidelity, over 108,000 a year ago. And then this piece of information you just laid out, 79% of the millionaires we studied use their 401k to get there. Get Chris Hogan's book, Retire Inspired. If you companies want to get your 401ks healed, get in touch with Smart Dollar. We'll help you do this. Chris, thanks for dropping by to talk about this.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Chris Hogan, #1 best-selling author of the book Retire Inspired and Ramsey Personality. I'm Dave Ramsey.